And away we go. We don't have the chimes. You forgot
Bing,
the chimes.
bing, bing.
Okay, let's do it properly. We got to go this way, right? That way. So,
Bing.
Did you put the clock on yet, Lee? I didn't hear it.
he hasn't put the clock. You know why? He's had like 40,000 Timbits here.
Excuse
We
me.
have birthday cake Timbits.
Even I'm being
Tim
good. I
Hortons.
had a nipple
And I
today.
forgot my insulin,
And
so
he forgot his influence. So
this could be an interesting show.
If he starts flopping around, just give us a few seconds
Yeah.
there. We'll be.
We'll be right back.
I'll breathe in a
We'll
minute.
be right back after this commercial message.
Yeah. Lee twitching on the floor.
It's the Air Radio Network, which is, well, it's all kinds of things, isn't it? Radio stations, podcast, vlogs, or
Vlogs,
or
vlogs.
whatever they call them. What was it that Chris Gold was telling us? No, it's a podcast. Okay, Chris, whatever. I don't know. It's a video thing, you know, the loosey-goosey.
Very loosey-goosey.
And we run 3 radio stations, of course. HaltonHillsOnline.com, which is our local radio station, and the 2 Canadian national radio stations, FM 108 FM 108.ca, and that's 50s, 60s, 70s. And,
Great station.
Yeah, it's my baby. And RadioGTA.ca, of course, is a freeform station, which is dedicated to the people like the old Top 40 days when used to get all the genres of music together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a bit of David Marsden thrown in there too, because we have some wonderful. And the thing I've learned
And Don
about,
Cherry.
And Don Cherry. Don't forget Don.
Don't forget Don.
He isn't on this week because Tim, who records the show and produces it, is in Italy this week.
Okay.
So that's if you're wondering
A
why.
little bit of a trip
'Cause I had a few emails saying, "Where's Don?" Well, he's still there. Don't worry, but he's taking a week off.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
think he
enjoy,
just-
Tim. Sounds like
and,
fun.
yeah, he said he had a good time, so he'll be back next week. So anyway, what's going on? Yeah, I guess we're. It's
Well,
all about,
he's Big Daddy. I'm Lee Lakin with Leah Lywood, and we want to welcome everybody back to our weekly vlog. We're getting more and more numbers, and we want to thank you guys for that. It's pretty awesome.
We also promote Canadian tourism as well,
Yeah.
and we'd like to say hello to the folks at visitcalgary.com this week.
Hi, Calgary.
Calgary is just a great place, isn't it?
I haven't been there
It's like a
since
huge
the
city,
mid-2000s.
but it's a small town atmosphere.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Yeah.
Like
It's a
Cambridge.
shame about the hockey teams, but that's okay. You know,
Yeah, that's
I'm being a Leaf fan, but hey, Calgary looked pretty good this year, buddy.
Well, they got beat by Buffalo last night.
Yeah, I know, but they're looking good.
Well, the Kadri there, you know.
Kadri's
and,
there, and what's his name there from the Panthers? Can't remember. Huberall or
Huberdeau.
Huberdeau, yeah. So yeah, things are looking good for the Calgary Flames. The Leafs are playing okay.
Yeah, not bad. It was a little scary there last night, and I think that was still goaltender interference, if you ask me. But that's my opinion on that one. But
The Leafs played a lot of games out of the gate. Montreal's doing well too.
and they're going on, I think, a 4 or 5 game road stint right now.
Yeah,
so.
well, they just had like 5 games at home.
At home, yeah.
So they lucked out there. We are talking about Calgary, as I said, a wonderful place. Visit Calgary.com. We support Canadian tourism. Here's a look at the
Headlines.
Headlines. Liz Truss. Hope she didn't unpack. She had
guess
time,
not.
did she? Do you know that a head of lettuce actually outlived her?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that.
6
yeah.
weeks.
Probably in my fridge.
Yes. Liz Truss resigning as British Prime Minister following weeks of controversy. There's a lot of problems in the UK right now with the way things are going politically.
Oh, jeez.
We thought we had problems. My
Oh, man.
God, this is a Bush here. It's like the Canadians are going, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then the Brits are going, here, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Wait a minute and look at ours.
Yeah.
So thank God that we don't have to go through that. If you spot a lanternfly,
Gorgeous looking thing.
you're supposed to kill it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to kill a butterfly. Sorry. This is according to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, because apparently they do a lot of damage. To the crops and stuff. I'm not going to kill anything. I have a hard time killing a fly.
I don't can spiders.
I don't kill. And New York, a New York court dismisses Kevin Spacey.
Yeah,
on
big
that
news there.
Sexual assault lawsuit, and of course COVID-19 is still.
Yeah, remains a global health emergency. Who's saying Ukrainians are they're the ones making the comment about this.
Who?
Yeah, You know,
Who?
We got to space.
World
We got
Health?
to space these
Yeah, I
better.
know. The World Health Organization.
Also, Ukrainians are told to charge everything. I saw this today. That was really weird to watch. As power grid hit by Russia, takes out another power grid on them there, and who knows when it's going to come back.
Poor
U.S.
people.
fighter jet intercepts 2 Russian bombers near the
That's
Alaskan
bake a cake.
border.
That's bake a cake.
That's big news though.
Yeah.
They're starting to go outside their territory and shit like that. That's not cool, man.
It's just it's a spitting contest in the parking
Well,
lot.
and the U.S. is saying the Iranian drones breach sanctions there, so they're dropping all these drones on them too. These suicide drones they call them, which I think is kind of twisted and demented. Food prices are soared in September, even as inflation slowed overall. It's everybody's talking about it now. No Frills is saying that they're going to freeze all their prices till the end of January. So, well, you've already bumped them up. So now you've already jacked them all up. So now you're going to freeze them. Okay, yeah, okay.
The price of food is incredibly high.
It's $100. You're walking out with half a bag.
Gas, food, which one?
Yeah, gas, food, exactly.
Even sprinkles. Sprinkles have gone up.
And this constable in BC, eh?
That's sad.
Worked on a Burnaby detachment on a homeless outreach team, and her life was taken when she was stabbed, going into a encampment, I guess you could call it, so to speak.
And Ottawa police are saying that City Hall knew that the convoy protest would dig in, but they didn't say anything about it. That's a real shit show. And did you see David Suzuki and his 4-letter? He's really pissed. And he knows what he's talking about, too.
Not a
He's an
stupid guy.
environmentalist. Because he says that Canada is the only G7 country that hasn't done anything about the emissions. And is he right? If he is, I'd be pissed off, too.
Absolutely.
Pay enough for it.
I met him in an elevator in the Embassy Suites Hotel downtown Toronto.
Wow.
And he's a very small guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really tiny.
He's Asian.
I was shocked. I didn't think he was that small. Really nice, though. We had a great conversation because we ended up going into the restaurant together. So, very nice guy.
He's a very learned man.
Oh my God,
He's amazing.
silly amount of knowledge and just wow. And the fact he can just pull it out like a whip, right?
Hundreds of Paddington bears.
This is cute. I like this.
They left a lot of Paddington bears for the Queen, of course, when she died. And they've gone to charity. That was nice. And of course, her relationship with Paddington Bear is well known. Canadian home energy costs is going to be spiking up to 100% on average this winter. That's according to an analyst. And 11 students have drowned after that river ferry capsized in Cambodia. Something that gets knocked to the bottom of the news because of everything else going on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Happens.
Well, there's so much other news that goes on that sometimes you got to wonder if they're showing you this news to distract you from what's really going on over here too at the same time, right? We don't do that here. We just report what we get across our desk. But
the baseball playoffs, of course, going on right now.
Yankees are down 2-0, aren't they?
Yeah,
Or
2-0 to the Astros, and the Phillies and the Padres are deadlocked, going back into the city of brotherly love. A game of peace. That's a good one. They're the 2 wild card teams.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a wild card and a division champion going into the World Series,
it.
which is interesting. I want the Phillies to win because I have a few friends down in Philly, and I wish them well, and they deserve it. They've been like the Jays, been kicked around for a few years.
Yeah, they've had their definite
It's
ups
always
and
the
downs.
Braves or the Dodgers or the Yankees. Come on, give it to the. Even the Padres. It'd be great to see them go.
What do you think of them signing Buddy, the Blue Jays? He's now got a contract, the manager.
Oh, well, you know what? He made a few bad mistakes there.
I wondered about that myself. I thought, geez, he
he
made some bad calls at a crucial time, and that to me is, you could be a good manager, but when it comes down to it, under those kind of circumstances, and you make those kind of calls.
I'd like to shop the field for somebody a little bit better myself. But, I'm not the Blue Jays organization, so it's whatever they decide to do. But, he should have left him in there. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Let's get on to Leah's trivia. That's the fun part of it. She's falling asleep on the couch over there. Oh, by the
Are
way,
you kidding
we're
me?
at,
She's more wide awake than she was when we did our last video.
we're at the home of Big Daddy right here. This is my Captain Kirk chair.
We're on
behind
a
me here.
different location once again.
Yeah, at the because Lee's garage is far too cold, and we'll be
Shut down for the winter, but yeah, we'll be bouncing around from different areas in our local area anyway.
Let's look at Leah's trivia. This is the fun part of the show.
Fun part of the show.
I'll start. 1965, the Supremes launched their very own brand of bread, Supremes bread, which was sold in supermarkets across America.
I did not know
I
that.
had no idea.
Not a
about
clue.
that one.
I didn't with
Where
that
did
one
you-
either.
where
It
did you
was
find
cool
that
when I
one
found it.
That's a gem right there.
Baby loaf,
Baby loaf, where did you find my baby loaf?
And I didn't know this about the Commodore.
Yeah, 78.
Yeah.
And Commodore started a 5-week run at #1 on the UK singles chart with 3 Times a Lady. Lionel Richie wrote the song about his love for his wife, mother, and grandmother, hence once, twice, 3 times a lady.
I often
That's
wonder
very
where
cool.
that line came from.
Yeah, very cool.
And we got Alanis Morissette. Her first job was a child actress.
And I even remember seeing her when I lived in Ottawa with my family when I was young. She was a, what do you call it, the Eaton's catalog model
Yeah.
for kids, like nightgowns and slippers and stuff. And that's because she grew up in Ottawa. So
I did some of that work when I was younger. I was always the before, it was the
Oh.
after.
No, my
Diet.
son actually started it when he was about 3-4 years old. For Home Hardware was one of the ones he did. My oldest boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was also a hand actor too, because I had beautiful hands, as you can tell, like George Costanza's hands.
oh yeah, I remember that hand model.
All right, a little bit of history. October 20th, this week, 1977, in town for a gig with the Police, Sting kills some time by walking through the red light district of Paris. Watching the ladies of the night ply their trade gives him the inspiration for what becomes the band's first hit, Roxanne. I didn't know that either. In fact, Sting once expressed his mixed feelings about a very well-known Police track and admitted that he was initially embarrassed by the song's origins and melody. I don't think there's a reason for that. I think that's fine myself. Don't you?
I totally agree.
The singer would recall the time that he considered the song a throwaway, and then they had to play it in front of an important figure. And I can't believe this one before I hand it back
Yeah.
to you. In 1996, Carly Simon was unable to perform due to stage fright aboard the Queen Elizabeth II in New York.
She had a lot of issues and still
Oh
does
yeah,
with
still
anxiety.
does. Oh god,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Carly
Oh, yeah.
Simon is, you think about her as just the ultimate in perfection, and everybody has their own story. And Carly's a wonderful, wonderful woman too. But she had some great hits, didn't she?
Oh god,
I
yeah.
didn't know that she had bad anxiety. There's a lot of people out there with that.
Karen Carpenter, same thing. She used to throw up before she'd go on stage. Almost every time she went on stage, she threw up.
And she had the most beautiful voice, didn't
And
she?
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Oh God,
So
yeah.
talented, playing
drummer.
drums and singing.
The
Like-
drummer,
Oh, my
of
God.
course. She was a very well-known drummer in the business too, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She did session work.
Actually,
Yep.
there's a lot of people that didn't know that she was a drummer.
Oh,
I don't
God,
know
yeah.
how, but a lot of people. just
Most
see her
people
as a
think that
singer.
Karen and Richard were
Or
married,
piano
and
or-
they were brother and sister. Okay, they weren't married.
They weren't married.
And then we have
Yeah,
let's get it.
1977, October 20th, 1977. Sad day in music history again. Leonard Skinner members Ronnie Van Zant, Steve Gaines die in a plane crash in Mississippi. Gaines' sister Cassie, a backup singer with the group, is also killed along with 2 pilots and the band's manager. Other members of the group were badly injured but survived. And
Iconic
yeah, just
band.
another day the music died, right? And
Yeah, it was another day. Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, it's Don McLean hit that on the head with that tune, man. He just
Well, and the rest of the band had issues too at that point. They,
Lot-
of course, didn't play for a while, and they all turned to alcohol
on
and
drugs. Oh
and
God, yeah, they went.
They had a really rough go.
They hit the rock bottom situations in a lot of cases, and it was sad because that's why I say it was just a whole sad day. Yeah, they were injured, but these guys didn't come back for almost 20 years.
Well, I know.
I think it was just over 20 years before they came
I
back.
remember hearing it on the radio when I was driving around. I think it was. And you always remember where you are when important
Certain stuff happens
like that. And I remember
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
I was listening to Chum or something.
Yeah.
Chum, the guy come on, he said, Yeah, I've got some bad news for you, man. You know, the Leonard Skinner members have died in a plane crash, and I almost drove off the road. Because you don't expect that to come out, you know.
Well, it was like 2016, like between December 2015 into like February 2016. How many iconic actors, musicians?
Oh,
It was like
Boom, boom, boom.
Well, for me,
crazy.
the biggest one for me was I was doing a morning show for Aaron Montgomery up on the Aaron radio station, and that was pretty much the busiest time we ever had on our station was our morning show, all 26 listeners. Great, but thanks, listeners. But no, I got in at 4:30 a.m. to go on at 5 a.m. and I got an email from Wendy, Jeff Healy's girlfriend, fiance, that he had passed away. And Jeff and I had known each other since we were 12 years old. We kind of grew up in the music business, so to speak. His in the music, mine into the radio stuff. But I had to go on the air, and that was tough, man. I could only go on for about 30 seconds before I'd start to break up, and it was like, okay, boom, into a song.
I remember back, when did Rick Nelson, 85, Rick Nelson would die. I was in to do the FM 108 New Year's Eve show. And it was New Year's Eve 1985. And I remember I was on the air, and in the control room was about, from here, I'd say about 50 or 60 feet down the line. So a little ways down the hallway. But you could hear the old teletype. It was we used to have an old teletype in the old days in the newsroom that used to ding. And if you used to get 5 or 6 dings, you knew it was serious. I was on the air reading the weather or something. I could hear it in my headphones down the hall. And it was Rick Nelson had died. This is at 5 to 12, and I'm going on with a show at midnight.
Yeah.
So we had, I remember, I'm trying to remember who was with me that night at the radio station. The Weather Girl used to be on Channel 11 there. I can't remember. I've got a mental block. But we had to change gears, and it became the Rick Nelson overnight.
Yeah.
So. Because he had a lot of hits. Rick Nelson had a lot of top 40 hits. Next to Elvis, I think he was number 2 in Fats. But
my biggest one was, and I remember many of musicians that died in what I was doing.
Elvis?
But mine was Bonham.
Yeah.
When he died, because a friend of mine was we had it all worked out one way or another. I was going with them to Chicago. I was only 14, 15 years old. But I was going because he had tickets to go see Zeppelin. They weren't playing here, they were playing there. And he died literally within like a month, give or take, before those tickets were supposed to. So I didn't get to go see him. So not only was it devastating he died, I wasn't going to see Zeppelin live. And that was a big kick, and I was just devastated.
My brother still has his 2 tickets.
Wow.
Ugh.
He still has his 2 tickets, and
I didn't have them, they did. So.
Yeah, and I told him, you hang on to those, man, because they're not torn or anything. So I said, you hang on to those.
Okay.
The Beasties.
Yeah, 1987, the Beastie Boys' debut album,
great
License to Ill,
Great album.
was the first rap album to top the U.S. chart, so it's kind of historic. And Ian McCulloch of Echo and the Bunnymen, you know what its first gig was? It was playing with David Bowie at the Liverpool Empire, June the 10th, 1973. Row 23.
Not a bad first gig to have.
Not a bad first gig, I would say. Echo and the Bunnymen. I haven't heard. They had some great stuff, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
Echo and the Bunnymen. Great.
Very fun poppy, you know.
Oh, it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Little bit of history for this week. On October 19th, 1959, ABC airs the Frank Sinatra Timex Show, the first of 4 Timex-sponsored TV special hosted by the singer. Bing Crosby, Dean Martin, and Mitzi Gaynor sing High Hopes with Frank to open the show.
Frank was something else.
Back in those days when, those crooners were big, man.
Oh,
what have you got today? Michael Bublé and maybe a couple others, that's about it.
Yeah, but Bublé is no match for Sinatra, man.
No.
I mean, when you talk about Sinatra, when you talk about a singer, you're talking about a singer.
Well,
I mean, you know when Sinatra's on.
He just had that charisma, right?
And the voice.
Yeah.
Was just absolutely incredible. And, of course, I've lost myself
1964.
I know, I'm trying to go up here. And we've got, of course, this wonderful system here where we are using laptops, and he's got his own little, what is that thing called?
Tablet.
A tablet. Am I showing my age or what? All right.
Yes, folks, he got his first flip phone just recently.
1964, the incredibly influential English concert called the American Negro Blues Festival kicks off, featuring, now listen to this.
I love this lineup.
Howlin' Wolf,
Dixon.
Willie Dixon, Lightnin' Hopkins, and Sonny Boy Williamson, and others as well. It's the first glimpse of these bluesmen from many upcoming British rhythm and blues rock legends. And that's where rock and roll came from in England. This is
it. Is they had heard the music.
Yeah.
They had just never seen them perform up until this point.
That's right.
So imagine the thrill these guys got when they went, oh, we've been listening to these albums. And you're talking about guys like Keith Richards and John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin and John Lennon and Paul McCartney and all these amazing British writers, like, Pete Townsend. All those guys listened to those guys.
That's right. That's where the Stones and the Beatles were influenced by exactly the same people.
Exactly.
It's just that
I love that one meme somebody put up though. Is they show the Rolling Stones missing a bassist and a drummer, and then they've got Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr right below going, there's your bassist and drummer. Yeah. So can you imagine just take those 5 guys and put them together? Wow. Imagine what they'd come up with right now. That could be interesting.
It could be.
Think about it, guys. If you ever see this video or pass it along to somebody, get those guys together and see what they could put together as one album. It'd freak people out.
The mind boggles.
It would freak people out, and it would sell millions, man. I could tell you that. People buy it just out of curiosity. 2005, a survey concluded that the average person spent around £21,000 or $42,000 on music during their lives.
I spent a lot more than that.
The figure included the amount spent on hi-fi equipment, concerts, and CDs. Music enthusiasts were likely to spend more than double that, parting with just over £44,000 or almost 90 grand in a lifetime, according to a survey conducted by UK company Prudential. I can believe that.
Me too.
I can believe that.
Man, I was down at Sam the Record Man when I was a kid, in my teens. Square One, Mississauga Sam's. And Chum Radio used to have the Chum Top 30 up on the rack. Remember, I used to have all the little, for the 45s. And I was so pissed if I went there and it was one of the new entries wasn't there.
Already sold out.
Yeah, and I used to spend hours and hours and hours fingering through albums in record stores.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I really missed. Now is we got a one in downtown Georgetown here.
We've got 2 of them locally, so
and it was just fun. And you used to take dates to go to Sam the Record Man and have, hey, you want to come with me? We'll look at some music. That was a thing to do.
Well, you got to know what kind of music they were into as a date kind of thing, and okay. Otherwise, you're into that crap. No, I'm not into. Yeah, see you later.
Here's a tidbit. When recording the engine sounds for the Shangri-La's Leader of the Pack, a studio engineer brought his motorbike into the studio and recorded the sound of the engine being revved. So, in the beginning of that song, That's actually the engineer's bike.
It's a real engine. It's not, synthesized.
And I'll do one more. U2's Bono, his first gig with The Clash at the Trinity College in Dublin in 1977. So The Clash brought in Bono. So there you go. And,
which doesn't surprise me. Those guys, a lot of people, punk rock music, blah, blah, blah. These guys are talented musicians, man.
Sure
they just, and try, as a musician, try and play some of the stuff they did. It's hard.
Absolutely.
It's hard. These guys were good musicians. So a little bit more history for this week. And back on October 18th, 1922, just after I was born, the British Broadcasting Corporation, or the BBC, the first national broadcasting corporation, is founded on this day in London. The BBC is celebrating its 100th year anniversary this year.
The old girl and the BBC, and has been known for years with journalists around the world that the BBC is the news you want to go to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I use the BBC all the time with my news stuff. My first radio job, I was 13 years old in 1973. I worked at BBC Radio Nottingham, and that was the very first radio job I had. Just thought I'd.
And then you were hooked.
Oh, I was hooked. I was making cups of tea for Dennis McCarthy, and I've lost myself again.
56.
I'll find myself. I know. There we go. I don't like these things. What are they called? Rabbits or mouses? Mouses. I'm only
They
kidding.
don't hop, they roll.
I know they roll. All right, in 1956, 21-year-old Elvis Presley pulled into a Memphis gas station where he started to attract a small crowd of autograph seekers.
Big surprise.
After repeatedly asking Elvis to move on so he could resume normal business, station manager Ed Hopper slapped Presley on the head and found himself on the receiving end of a punch in the face from the king. Station employee Aubrey Brown tried to help his boss, but was no match for Elvis. After police are called, Hopper and
terrible.
Brown were charged with assault and were fined $25 and $15. And
Yeah, back then.
yeah, so Elvis used to be a bit of a scrapper. Well, in his later years, he learned how to.
Well, he was in the army. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, and he was pretty,
He was a tough
pretty good
guy.
sized fella.
He was a good fella.
You know,
he
he was
looked like the kind of guy who you didn't want to piss off
Yeah,
on
he didn't
Saturday
get
night.
charged or fined.
Yeah.
They let him go.
Now,
1967,
1967.
Louis Armstrong, 66 years old, releases What a Wonderful World.
That's a great song.
It goes number 1 in the UK, but takes a lot longer to catch up on his home country, right here in pretty much North America, where it doesn't make much impact until 1988 when it's used in the film Good Morning Vietnam.
That's right. And that was my mom's favorite song.
It's a wonderful
Of course, that charted, as you said, in
world.
England already in 1967.
Just had
The
that
British
growl in
charts
his
and the
voice.
American charts and the Canadian.
Oh yeah,
they're so different.
Very different.
Right there, especially in the 70s. My God, total difference. Here's one I didn't know about, and Al Green's grits incident, when a stewardess friend of Al's shows up to meet the singer, and he ends up at his Memphis home with her and his companion, Mary Woodson, who is dangerously obsessed with the singer. And now when Green goes into the bathroom to brush his teeth, Woodson bursts in and pours a pot of boiling grits on him, of course, burning him badly before going into the next room and killing herself with his gun. Green takes these disturbing events as a sign from God and focused his career on gospel music and preaching. So it sent
Now
him.
you see the changes.
Wow. Now, Green is cleared of any wrongdoing in the death
Absolutely.
of Mary Woodson, who was married with 4 children. And Green claims that he didn't know this at the time when he was dating her and had a history of psychiatric problems. Do you think? She left behind 2 suicide notes, including one proclaiming her love for Al, and says that before her death she told him he would someday become a great preacher. And Green honors her memory with a name plate at his church. That's a strange story.
Got
man.
some bizarre.
Isn't that strange,
There's a movie right there.
A lot of twists and turns.
Yeah, like
Oh, Al Green. Oh.
the Heavy Metal Kid and the Heavy Metal People of Uranus feature in the 1964 William Burroughs novel The Nova Express. The phrase heavy metal was subsequently appropriated by music journalist Lester Bangs to the noisy variety of rock that emerged through the 70s.
Wow. So that's where that came from. Eh?
Pretty much.
Heavy
Heavy
metal.
metal.
Neil Young's first gig was with Les Paul and Mary Ford at El Rancho, Winnipeg, sometime in the late
That's
50s.
impressive. I did not know that.
And here's another one. In 1991, John Mellencamp faints during a radio station appearance in Seattle and is rushed to the hospital, where the cardiologist cites too much coffee, stress, and not enough breakfast as the cause. As chain smoking, of course, didn't help either.
No.
But of course, he looks very healthy today when you see him. But I love John Cougar.
He smoked, from what I understood, over 2 packs a day. Eddie Van Halen was the same way. They said he just smoked and smoked. It was like the fact he lived as long as he did was quite surprising.
We used
but-
to have a newsman at CFGM. He used to smoke like crazy. He used to keep one in his ear when he was reading the news,
Yeah.
and it would be burning. You know what I mean? And you'd be waiting in the control room, and one day it did burn him. Richard Scott. But he was one of the best. That guy. Yeah.
Pope,
Made me think
Must have
about
had
that.
big ears.
Yeah. No, that's Prince Charles or King Charles. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you're putting a cigarette that's
Yeah.
lit and not having it burn. You gotta have some space there.
Pope Benedict XVI's top rock album is The Beatles' Revolver, according to the Vatican's official newspaper.
I knew that.
And Madonna's first job was a waitress at Dunkin' Donuts. Can you imagine?
I love Madonna. You know why she's the way she is? Just because she wants to stir up the pot.
Oh, God,
So,
yeah.
I love her for that.
I love her for
Why
that.
be the common what everybody expects of you? That's
you
what I
know.
always loved about her. She was original.
She was, and she
Right?
makes great music. She does. I do have to agree with Elton John. She shouldn't be lip syncing concerts.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, but I think she's a very talented gal, and I love Madonna. And Lady Gaga's another one. I just fell in love with her too. All right, so we've got
Sorry.
a little bit of history and trivia for October 16th, this week in history. 1962, at the Howard Theater in Washington, D.C., Motown Records launches their first package tour, the Motortown Review. Mary Wells and the Contours. And of course, they had "Do You Love Me?" and all that stuff. And of course, Stevie Wonder was 12 years old on the show. Little Stevie Wonder did Fingertips. And somebody else played on that record, but I can't remember who it is now. But Marvin Gaye was on the bill too, and that was the very earliest Motown. But
Yeah, pretty much the start of it internationally, type of thing, where it became outside the churches and the that type of or black
Motown.
neighborhoods and stuff like that. Motown started
Motown had
becoming-
its own thumping sound.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's like Philadelphia had its own sound. So,
1966, folk singer Joan Baez is among 124 anti-war protesters arrested for blocking an entrance to an Army induction center in Oakland, California, and she's sentenced to 10 days in jail.
she was always in the middle of
Oh
all
God,
that
yeah,
stuff.
she was
As far as I
a
know,
big
she served
activist.
it.
Yeah,
Oh, of
from
course
what I
she did,
understand, she did. Yeah.
And we're going to wrap it up with 2001. 2 security guards were fired, or sacked as they say in England, after refusing to allow Bob Dylan into his own concert.
Can you imagine?
Dylan, who had demanded that security on his Love and Theft tour should be tighter than ever, didn't have a pass when he arrived backstage, so they didn't let him in. Obviously not Dylan fans, or knowing what Bob Dylan, because he's a very short guy.
How
Yeah.
did you not know who Bob Dylan is looking in that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
Well, probably you're looking at the guy going, "Oh, he's one of those, impersonator
Wannabes.
guys or something, and he's." It's I don't know how you could. Yeah, I think I would recognize Bob Dylan right away. So,
Well, you think.
but
You think. Now,
wow, those are always fun. Those are, again, the amount of time you and I have been around music and in the radio business, and Leah included for that matter, and just being fans ourselves as well. To find some of those tidbits that we didn't have any clue about.
I've been in the business for 50 years almost, and
Yeah.
I didn't know most of this stuff.
So very, very cool, and we're glad you guys enjoy them. We love bringing them to you every single week.
And the radio reunion is this weekend.
Yeah, tomorrow.
At the symposium in Georgetown. I don't know how many people will be able to get out, but there's going to be a lot of radio people in Georgetown, Ontario, at the Symposium restaurant. Wonderful people, and
Yeah.
we're hosting them. And we're going to get some sleep, man. All of us, all
Yeah.
three of us need some shut-eye.
I get to go home, load the car, and then eat some dinner and go to bed.
Yeah, and he forgot his insulin. So as I said, if he's flopping around, don't worry, we'll be right with you. But,
Just pause for the cause.
we're looking forward to tomorrow, whenever you're watching this. And hello to everybody out there, and thanks for watching and listening and doing the stuff we do. We keep you informed with news, weather, sports, air radio, and stuff. But big radio reunion weekend here.
Yeah, lots going on, and including that guy.
And,
And
he wants to hear "Born to Be Wild" by Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah, okay, we'll get right to that.
yeah, a little overplayed, buddy. Pick a better tune.
That's right.
There's lots more good ones out there.
See you next week.
Yeah, we want to just thank everybody for tuning in every week too. Like you say,
we
the
gonna do
numbers
this?
are going up. So
Are we going to Halton Hills, Ontario, of course, Canada's hometown. We are the worldwide air radio network. Now, are we going to do this thing properly? Now, are you going to double
Well,
over
who we
and
brought to you
laugh
by?
again? Visit Calgary.com.
That's it,
Yes.
Calgary.ca.
Calgary, Alberta. the biggest city with a small town atmosphere, and the Calgary Flames and the Stampeders and the Calgary Stampede,
Yes.
and all that stuff. Now, he forgot the chimes
You're
because
going
we're.
that way and you're going that way.
So I'm going this way, right? Because we haven't got the chimes, but we have to do it. It's tradition, and we're very traditional around here. So we're going to make believe, like we do in radio, theater of the mind, that there are indeed chimes here, and he's going to make the sound effects because he used to be a cartoon sound effect guy, didn't you?
Yeah.
Something like that. So here we go.
Bing, bing, bing.
He did that without. Congratulations.
I got it right.
Sorry.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah. So now we're going to get into. So now while you people are going to do your flappy hands again.
One hand clap. I love it.
We're gonna devour this box of Timbit.
I can't have it anymore. I got to go get some insulin.
He's got to go get some insulin. We'll start flopping around. So, yeah, have a good week, folks, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers. Ooh, yeah.